Let's take a look at Android Studio, and we're going to create an application to add two numbers together. Nothing too exciting. So I'll click New Project, and we'll give it some kind of name. I'll call it Add Numbers Part 2. I screwed up the first one. I deleted something that I shouldn't have, and it was just like, oh, this is too much effort to add this back in. Okay, you have to be careful with XML that you don't delete the wrong items, otherwise it may be hard to get it back if you don't notice right away. Down here in the package name, I'm going to put this on mathheals.com, so I'll do com.mathheals, dot, and then the name. So add numbers part 2. Now the application name, I think, has to have the first letter as uppercase, but the rest of it could be whatever. Case will drive you nuts in this. One time I created I think it was a Java code with an uppercase letter, and it didn't work well. It told me it couldn't be uppercase, had to be all lowercase. So I click Next, and I'll just click Next to that. Now for the, I don't want blank activity, I want to choose full screen activity. Click Next, and then activity name, I'll call this main activity. Now click Finish. And I'm going to make all that lowercase, just in case. It's going through and it has to create a lot of different files, so it'll be a while. Not too long, but working with Android Studio has made me question whether I should get a new computer with 16 gigabyte of RAM, because it's intensive. Okay, now up here, see this? I don't know what it looks like. Looks like a little cell phone, maybe. It's kind of below the VCS on mine. It may not be below yours, but it's this one. We want to choose that. That's the AVD manager. This is our virtual devices for Android. So I come over here, click New, and give it some kind of name. Phone test. And you do the drop down a device and choose Galaxy Nexus. You can choose any, but I'll choose that one. And RAM here, it says 1024. I'm going to change that to 768 because that's what they recommend down below. Click OK. And then I'll click OK. It tells you it created it. Okay. Now once you get it created, then you can click that one. You probably only have one. And click Start. And then click Launch. And it'll say Start an emulator. Come up to this point. At that point, go back to Android Studio. You want to get that going to begin with. It takes quite a while for it to come up. That's why it's important for you to go ahead and get it up and running to begin with. Okay, now let's examine this a little bit. Over here in our project window, we got the app source. You see there's a Java folder. That's going to be important. That's where we'll get our Java code at. If you want to edit Java code, then you go there. Drawable, these right here, you'll see that's where we can drop in our images. Layout, that's what this looks like. Well, what does it look like? And you see the activity _ main activity.xml. XML is a formatting language. And you see here it adds text view, whatever that is. Adds a frame layout, whatever that is. If I scroll down, you see there's a linear layout, whatever that is. We'll talk more about these in future lessons. Now, I'm definitely not an expert at this. Don't think I'm some kind of genius. Don't email me your questions. I have no clue. I'm creating these to help my own learning in this. You can read about it and you learn that way. You can do it and then you learn more that way. And then if you're explaining it, even if it's on a YouTube video, you learn even more. And that's my goal. I want to maximize my knowledge in this. Okay. Let's go back to the text view here. You can probably guess what that is. Text view, well, view text. You see down here it says dummy content. And over here on this display, see how it says dummy content? Well, that's what puts that there. Now, your XML, it starts with the less than, ends with the slash greater than, like that. So that's what tells you where it begins, where it ends. You can click this minus next to it to collapse it. And actually, let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see it better. Okay. And I'm going to click the plus to expand it. Layout width, it matches the parent. Parent is your frame up here. So that means as it gets resized, then it'll match that. Keep screen on true. Text color. See, if I don't like the color, then I can change that here. Here, where it says dummy content, I don't want it to say that, so I'm going to highlight just that right there and click delete. And you now see that the dummy content's gone. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about that color, but we'll talk about that later. Down here, is there anything I want to mention right now? Probably not anything I want to mention right now. There's a dummy button here. I think we can probably get rid of that dummy button completely. I don't think anything probably refers to it, but we'll get rid of it another way. I'll leave that over there. Okay, so now if I double click the cell phone over there, it'll bring this up in design mode. And you can click different pieces. See, I click dummy button right there, and it highlights it over here, and you can see the properties go along with it. Well, I'm gonna, now that I got that highlighted, so make sure dummy button's highlighted here before you press delete. Then it's gone. Now, by the way, for our emulator, see how it's still loading? It takes a while. Okay, so now we want to we're going to add some numbers together, and it's currently set to frame layout, which is fine. We'll go with that. Over here, I want to choose. I'll scroll down to the text fields, and I want to choose one that says number. So if I take this number and I drop it like right here, it may look like, well, it didn't do anything. Well, you can see over here it says edit text, so it did do something. We just can't see it real good. If I come over here to the properties and choose background, so I click inside the background and click the button with the three little dots. I come over here, choose color, and let me change to something I can actually see on that screen. Be horrendous colors, green. And I'm going to click and drag this back, make it a little bit smaller there. And I want to drop on another number. So I go over here to text field, drop it on right here. Again, I can't hardly see it, so I come over here, click inside the background, click the three little dot button, click color, and I'll choose that right there. Then click OK. And I don't suppose those colors could get any worse. And what I'm doing is I'm moving my mouse until it becomes a double arrow, and then I'm holding my left mouse button down and resizing it. Okay, now I want a button. So let me come up here. Here's a button. I'll come over here and I'll drop it in the middle here. And I want some place to put it. And you see where it says plain text view? Well, I'm going to choose large text since my eyes are bad. And then I'll choose right there. Now, again, I can't see it real well, so let me change the background color. Choose color. Boy, it don't get any better than these colors. There. Okay. Now we got this is where we put our two numbers in. Then we'll click a button, and then we'll result will go here. Now I'm not trying to set this so it looks nice at all, so don't think that. Now notice this is edit text 2, and text view. Doesn't say much beyond that at this point. Let me come up here to the green edit text. Double click it. It'll come up with text, and let me call it I don't know, num1. And then I'll click outside of that. And then I'll double click this one, and I'll call this num2. Now when I do that, you see it says num1 and num2 inside the box here. I put that there for documentation purposes. And down here, I'm going to call this sum. So I'll put sum there originally. Okay. We'll change those at the end. When you're programming, it's nice to put that there to help keep in mind what are they called. Okay, so we just called this one num1. So let me double click it again. Now down here in ID, this is where we're going to refer to it programming wise. Now it has the @ plus ID slash. That you leave that alone, that stays there. And we're going to type in num1. Now I didn't change anything here, but notice over here it's now called num1. Let me double click num2 and edit text 2. I'm going to change that to num2. Now again, those are the names we're going to refer to in our programming. And then down here we said this was going to be called sum, so I'm going to double click that and change the ID to that to sum. Now I'm not going to use this programming wise, this button, but I do want to change it. Instead of saying no new button, I want to say add. So come up here and we'll just change the text only, and we'll say add it or add them or whatever. Excuse me. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to tackle our code. I'm going to resize this a little bit here. You should see a Java folder here. If you expand that, click the little triangle next to it, then you should see this main activity if you use the same names as me. If you double click that, it'll bring up your Java code. Okay, up here at top says import. If I expand that, see how it says import Android .os, Android.view, bunch of different things. If I click the tab here to go back to activity, main activity XML, you see how this is underneath a widgets folder, and we have what do we have? We have text view, and that was our large text. Text view is under widgets. Okay, let's go back to main activity Java. To use that in code, we have to import in that code. So we have to import Android dot. Remember what folder that was in? That was in widgets. That helps me to remember it. Dot text view, and that'll bring in the code so we can use it. Now these minuses and pluses, you can collapse these. So I can collapse that. Collapse this. There we go. Sorry, I meant to make my text a little bit bigger before I started this. Okay, the one I'm looking for is this one right here, protected void on crate. I always put my code right after this one. Then we're going to have public void, and then I'll say on button click. Beginning parentheses, capital V, and then view, V, little lowercase v. Very picky about case. Has to be uppercase and lowercase like you see. Now this on button click here, this is whatever you want to call it. So do not think that you have to call it this. You can call this David's World. It'll work. On button click. Helps actually document it so you know what in the world it's doing. But if you have 10 buttons on there, you want to document a little bit better than that. Okay, I'll click inside these. You should know a little bit of Java in order to program in this, or at least some programming language to understand the constructs and so forth. Well, we're going to be bringing in our first number, num1. Num1 was an edit text. So we go back to the Java here. You can click back and forth between these to go back and forth between the design and the window. So I'm going to say edit text. This is where we're getting it ready so we can use it. Now this is just kind of setting up the connection between what is called on the screen and how we're going to refer to it in our code. So I got edit text. I'll call it E1, and then equals beginning parentheses edit text, and then I'll say this is excuse me, find view. Now as I'm typing this, find uppercase VI. Notice how it already has that picked out what they think we want. If you just press tab at this point, it'll fill it in for you, which is very nice. And here we're going to tell it what we called it. Well, we called ours R refers to resources.id.num1. Num1. Remember, that's what we called this one. I know you can't see that real well. Remember how I put num1 there? That's what we called that. Now let me double click that. The text is not what allows us to access that. It's the ID. The ID is what it has to match. Okay. Now notice it cannot resolve that. It's in red. We'll come back to that. And edit text E2 is equal to edit text find view r.id.num2. That's curious. Why aren't they in red anymore? Oh, it added it automatically. I didn't want it to add it automatically. Huh. That was interesting. Okay, when it comes up and it's still in red, down here, see how it says do an Alt-Enter? And if you do Alt-Enter, so press my Alt key, press Enter, then what it does is automatically puts this import in here. Obviously, it puts it in other times too, but if it's in red, that's a very easy way to do an import. Anything you use down there, in terms of an edit text or text view, you have to declare up there. Okay, our other one was a text view. And I call it T1, even though we just have one. Text view, find view by ID, r.id. I think I called it sum. And as you start typing, do SU. See how you see sum in here? So you can just use that. Then I'll put a semicolon at the end. Now this ties together a way we can refer to it. So this ties together our code to our screen. Okay, well, I'm going to need some integers. So I say integer num1, num2, and the sum. Can I put sum there? I don't know. I didn't want to risk it. This might work. It might also get confused with what's on the screen. Usually I don't actually name it sum. If it comes from like a text view, I'd put TV_sum in front of it. But just keep things simple. I'm doing this. Okay, so now we need to get these. So I'll say n1 is equal to integer.parseInt, and I'll say e1.getText.toString. Okay, let's see what in the world this is doing. E1. Well, E1 we said was associated with num1. So that's our edit text over on our screen. Edit num1, this one right here. Okay, so this ties it together. So E1.getText, that gets whatever's inside the text box. Converts it to a string. This is what this toString does. And then this integer.parseInt converts it to an integer. And it seems kind of bizarre, but if you've done any kind of programming, you know this is pretty straightforward. Now, some programming languages you do not have to put this .toString. That threw me at first, but then I found I had to put it, or at least at one time I did. Definitely, I'm not an expert. Could be I was doing something wrong in that one example code. Whoa, where'd that come from? Interesting. Well, int2 is equal to integer.parseInt e2.getText.toString. Okay, now our sum, the sum, is going to equal to n1 plus n2. So we just added them together. Now we want to put it back out in the other text box. So we're going to say, now get text. You probably figure out how to set text. So we'll do t1 dot set text, and then we'll do integer dot toString. ToString. I can remember. And then put the sum in here. Okay, what that'll do is it'll we got t1.setText integer toString. This converts this integer to a string, and then it sets it in t1, which t1, remember, was sum, which sum was this box right down here. Okay, so now we've created our Java code. We need to attach it. So I come over to the activity. I'll click the button here. I'll come over to my properties. There's a clickable option here. I'm not sure if you actually need to check that actually, but I always do. And then down here it says on click. So I'm going to click inside that box, and then choose the drop down, and I want to choose on button click. If you've done everything correctly in what I showed so far, you should see your code right there. And let me think. What else have I forgotten? I think that's everything. Let's save it and run it. So I'll choose run app. Probably our emulator is sleeping now. It is. So I'll click the lock here, move it to the right to unlock it. There we go. Go back to my code. It'll come up here eventually. It's slow. Dummy button. Let me double click that. I would expected that to have cleaned out that that bit of code there, but I guess not. So let me clean that out. Delete that. There we go. And now run it. Okay. Now this, it recognizes you got the emulator up and running, so you can just click OK on that one. I just clicked it. It's just slow. Yeah, I think I clicked OK. There. I swear I clicked it, but must be going senile. Okay, now it's uploading. It'll take a while. Again, I give very serious thought about that 16 megabyte? Yeah, 16 megabyte machine. I may have to order it this afternoon. It saved me 2 years and sitting here waiting for this silly thing to load an emulator. Over there, it gives like tons and tons of messages. Okay, I click up here in this sum one. I should have cleaned those out. Yeah, let me clean those out. Okay, I come over here and go back here. I'm gonna double click num1 here and get rid of the text. I don't want that there. Double click this, get rid of the num2, and I'll go ahead and get rid of sum. Now that I'm done coding, then I don't need those there anymore. Now let's run it. And again, wait forever, wait forever. Sometimes I'm sitting there waiting. Did I actually click anything? Okay, click OK. And it'll eventually come up. you don't need to actually close that application or anything. It automatically handles all that. Reloads it. And still loading. Sometimes I'm so used to this being slow that I'm sitting here waiting for this and it's actually got an error or something. But here it comes. Okay, now I'm going to click up in this box up here and let me put 3 in. And I should have made that color a little bit different. I'll press Tab to go over here and press 4. And then click Edit. And I made that the same color as the text, didn't I? I don't know if it's working or not. Let me come back over here. Change this color. So click that. And change the background. And make it yellowish. There we go. Now let me try it one more time. You can if you want. When this comes up and asks us which emulator, obviously you're probably not going to have enough memory to run 2 emulators. So you can just say that use same device for future launches. You can click that and then click OK. Sometimes I don't like to do that though, because if I, like I say, if I'm brought up the emulator, I'm sitting here waiting, it's actually got an error message over on the other screen, and that's kind of a quick check you can do to see if it is. If it doesn't pop up that which emulator, then you know it's an error. And still loading. Okay, so I'm going to click up here, put 3, tab 4, and click on. Boy, that yellow still might not be able to see it real well. I don't know. Let me go change it to white or black. Black. Is there no black? Oh, there. Now let's try it. I'm still learning myself, so be critical as much as you want, but hopefully this helps you some. Not doesn't hurt you. I know I struggle with some of these very basic concepts you're seeing right here, and I thought, well, if I can help cement it in my mind and help somebody else at the same time, then that's what I want. It's so slow. Okay. So click up here, put 3, put 4, click Edit. And I don't think it's working. There it is. I think I've just becoming too impatient. It's so slow that you can see now it's I scoot this up. See how it's 7. So anyway, we got that working. Okay. Now I'm going to right click on my folder here and choose Windows Explorer. And I'm going to browse here. Users, David 3, Android Studio Projects. Okay. Where do I get that name at? It says right across here. Users, David 3, Android Studio Projects. Add numbers, part 2. So add numbers, part 2. Now at this point, if I click up here in a search, I want to find the APK file. And here it is right here. So I'm going to right click on that and say rename, and I'll say this is add it APK. Okay, let me come over here. What if that tells me where it's at? Let me right click on properties. Where's that located at? App build APK. Okay, so if I get rid of the search, app build APK. Okay, that's where it's at. Now I got my website here, and I'll drop it in this folder. So right click on that, copy, paste it into here. Took a while to upload. How big is that? 709 kilobyte. That's interesting. Okay, and my classes. Let's get see an iDog here one of these days. You can put Android apps right on your website. And see, BR href equals Android dot no memory, add it dot apk, adding two numbers /a/br. Okay, let me save that and transfer that back up. You don't need to worry about this part because you don't have access to my site. It'd be very boring if you did. I don't have anything credit card wise or anything. Don't hack in. Okay. This is I'm gonna be modifying this slightly, but instead of CIS class information, I'll rename it somehow to computer. So I'll put these lessons out here. It'll be obvious when you come here. It'll be the only one that says computer or CIS or something like that. But I'll put it under my classes temporarily. You see, I got adding two numbers here. Okay, so this is where you can have your Android bring up this web page, and they can click this, and then it can install that program for you. Now, I don't know if I can do this with the emulator, but let's try. I'm not very good. I just got my first Android week and a half ago. So let me bring up one of these. I'm not sure which one. No, maybe I'll click that. This is so slow. Okay, and I'll click this middle one here with the six squares, whatever that represents. And the question will become, how do I get into settings? Yeah, whatever. Okay. Settings. There's settings. Not sure if I need to double click that or just click it. I just clicked it. If you scroll down somewhere in this, you'll see a security. Well, how do I scroll down? There. It'll be easier on your phone than sitting there with this emulator. Okay, we're going to security. Okay, now scroll down. Now I see down here it says device administration, unknown sources, allow installation of apps from unknown sources. You want this checked. Now when it checks you, it'll tell you, hey, you're opening up your cell phone to be hacked into and everything else, and bad things happening, and etc. etc. Well, that's okay. Go ahead and check it anyway, and then click OK and go through that. That's what allows you to install that app directly from that website. Now, after you're done installing it, you probably want to come back into security here and then uncheck it. And then I guess I have to go back out. Anyway, that's how you set up so you can actually install it. Now, I tried earlier to bring up this web page, and it won't bring up the browser in this emulator. I don't know if I just don't have enough memory assigned or what, but it gave me an error. Might be on your computer, you might have better luck. But anyway, let's go back to our program. Okay, we looked at adding the two boxes here, two edit texts, and then a button to add them together. Now, briefly, talk about different components over here. We got our Java, that's where our code goes, remember. We got our resources folder. This is where we put images in. Like we'll see in future lessons, I'll put drawable.hdpi. I'll put some images in there, some pictures. Layout, that's what it looks like. The Android manifest right here. If I double click this, this is kind of the main thing. It tells you everything that's contained. Your activity, main activity, I'll refer to it in here. See how it says activity here? Here it is, main activity. So you'll see that, you know, if you come in here, you screw this up by accident, you delete this activity, then it messes things up. And sometimes you have to know a little bit of XML to kind of fix it. Anyway, that's our first example, adding two numbers. So let me save all, and then I'll do a close. Now I'm guessing this project would be too big to zip up and put on my website, but let me just double check that. Add numbers part 2. So I'll right click on that and I'll say send to compressed zip folder. Yeah, I don't want that one. That's kind of big. I got a very cheap website. I don't pay very much for it. 2.4. Yeah, that's too huge for it. But anyway, you might put the Java code out there. I'm guessing Java code's probably separate. Where would it be at, I wonder? App, source, main, Java, Matthews, this. Okay, see my main activity.java? If I right click on that and say open with open, I want to open. Edit. It's interesting. Usually they let you do an open with. Let's say open where it's at. Okay, I already got it assigned to this. That won't look very good. But the code's within there. I may actually copy the code into a text document or a Word file or something. Put it in PDF format there so it's a little easier to access so you can read it better. But anyway, that's our first lesson.